conversion of class limits to class boundaries. Let us take uh, mm, this class limit in fact. Let us take 1 to 9. This is a class limit. How to convert this class limit to a class boundary? Okay, normally what we do is in most of the sum, 90% of the sums, what you will be doing is uh, you will be simply be adding zero point 0.5 to this, subtracting zero point 0.5 from this. So you'll have 1 minus 0.5 and you'll be adding zero point 0.5 to 9. Okay, class boundary. In most of the sum, this is what you will be doing. Okay, so if I give you a class limit 1 to 9, if you want to convert it to a class boundary, you subtract zero point 0.5 from 1 and you add 0.5 to 9. So this what you will get here is 0.5 to 9.5. So these the corresponding to this class limit is this class boundary. Okay. Similarly, you can do for all the class boundaries, class limits in fact. Okay. So that is the conversion part. And finally, class width. Last concept is class width. What do you mean by class width? The length of a class is called a class width. For example, for class boundary, say 0 to 5. What is the class width here? Class width here is 5 minus 0. The upper limit 5 minus the lower limit 0, which is 5. Suppose for the class boundary 10 to 15. What is the class width? Class width here is 15 minus 10, which is 5. Now suppose if I give you a class limit and if I ask you to find out the class width, then what will you do? Suppose I give you the class limit 0 to 9. What should be the class width of this? First you convert this, or let's say 1 to 9. I'll give you 1 to 9. Okay, 1 to 9. We first convert this to class boundary. How do you convert this to class boundary? By subtracting zero point 0.5 from 1 to get zero point 0.5 and adding zero point 0.5 to 9. So you get 9.5. Now you calculate the class width is equal to 9.5 minus 0.5 is equal to 9. Okay. So this was nothing but refreshing you all your class 9 knowledge. Okay. Let's now move on to the sums. Now whatever sums I have given, if you do all these sums, it will be sufficient for you. Okay. And for practice, you can choose some sums from the textbook. I'll give you some sums from the textbook. Okay. And but they will all be of the same type. Only the numbers will be changed. There will be no other variation in these sums. Okay. All the sums I have covered in these notes. You do these notes, you're done. But you also require practice, of course. So I'll give you some sums for practice also. Look at this type. First, I have discussed the various types of sums that are possible. The type 1 sum. If you see type 1 sum, this frequency distribution is given. 6 coins were tossed 1000 times, and each toss at each toss the number of heads were counted and the results were recorded as under. So 1000 times 6 coins were tossed simultaneously 1000 times. Okay, so 6 people standing together tossing 6 coins, and they repeat this 1000 times. Okay, and they record their observations. It was seen that 20 times, yes, in 20 tosses, heads occurred 6 times, 25 tosses, heads occurred 5 times, and so on. So we constructed a frequency distribution with this. Okay, and the question here is calculate the mean of the distribution. Mean of the distribution means what? You have to identify which one is your variable. We want to calculate not the mean of the number of tosses, not the mean of this, not the mean of this. We want to calculate the mean number of heads. We want to calculate the mean number of heads. That means this, the mean of this I want to calculate. So this is my variable. This should be my variable x. Okay, because we want to calculate the mean of this. Okay, so this is what you must bear in mind. And now when we start, if you see, this distribution is called a simple or ungrouped frequency distribution, because there are no class limits or class boundaries. In fact, there are no class intervals. Okay, simple or ungrouped frequency distribution. This is called a simple or an ungrouped frequency distribution. Okay, because there are no class intervals. Now, how to find out the mean of a simple or ungrouped frequency distribution? This is the way you do. You make the first column, call it the number of heads. Okay, number of heads for the first column, for this one. Okay, and you write the number that are there in this column: 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 and 0. So you have 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and 0. Okay, so number of heads. Now I have called this as x. If you see here, I have called this as x because this is my variable whose mean I have to determine. I have to determine the mean number of heads. Okay, that is why I have called this x. Next, number of tosses. Number of tosses means how many times 6 has occurred, how many times how many times 6 heads have occurred, how many times 5 heads have occurred. Okay, I have written here. So that is why this is the frequency of heads, frequency of occurrence of heads. So that is why I have made a second column for this frequency. Number of tosses: 20, 25, 160, 288, 338, 140, 34. So you have 20, 25, 160, 288, 334, 40, and 34. So two columns for your for number of heads and number of tosses. This we call, this we denote as F, because this is your frequency. We denote the frequency column as F. Now, in order to find out the mean, the first step here is to multiply these two together, F and X. So column wise, you multiply them together. That is, you multiply 6 and 20. This is 6 into 20. You get 120. You multiply 5 and 25 to get 125. You multiply 4 and 160 to get 640. 3 and 288 to get 849. You multiply 2 and 338 to get 676. You multiply 1 and 140 to get
Sir, that
140.
will be 864.
Which one? The multiplication?
Yes, sir. 288 into 3.
Okay, okay. This one. How much will be?
864.
864. Fine. The multiplication mistake. No problem. Okay. So this is 0 into 34. Okay. You get 0. So you make another column for fx in this manner. Now what you do is you find out the okay, before that, the formula for this will be mean x bar, mean number of heads x bar is equal to summation fx by summation f. This is the formula for this simple frequency distribution. Okay. This method is also called as the direct method, because it is called that as the direct method because we are calculating f into x directly here. That is why it is called the direct method. So now once we have calculated fx for each and every row, we want to calculate this summation fx. So how do you calculate summation fx? Remember I told you that summation is nothing but addition. So what you do here is you add up this entire row. Once you add up this entire row, you will get a certain sum. Okay, mine is wrong, I think. So 864 it should be. So this sum is wrong, but you have to add up this column. Okay, once you add up this column, therefore you will get x bar is equal to, say if this sum was correct, summation fx is 2550 divided by summation f. You add, now what do you mean by summation f? You also need to calculate summation f. Summation f is nothing but the total of this column. The summation f is 1000, and you get your answer 2.55 or whatever. The point here that I'm trying to make is that summation fx here, actually how many data is given here? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. There are 7 data given. So summation fx here could also have been written in this manner. Summation I is equal to 1, because there are 7 observations given, 1 to 7, f1 x1 divided by summation I is equal to 1 to 7, not f1 x1, fi xi divided by summation fi. You could have written in this manner also. And what does this mean? This means f1 x1 plus f2 x2 plus f3 x3, and this continues till f7 x7 divided by summation fi is f1 plus f2 plus f3, and this continues till f7. This is what sigma notation means. Okay, so that is why we are adding up, in order to find out summation fx, we are adding up this column, and in order to find summation f, we are adding up this column. Any doubts with the summation notation, or any doubts with this sum direct method? No problem.
No, sir.
No, sir.
The next sum is also a direct method, but this time there is a frequency distribution given to you. Okay, now in this frequency distribution, if you see, the class intervals that are given here are 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7 and 7 to 10. You have to find out the mean of these classes. Okay, remember, whenever class intervals are given, you have to find out the mean of the class intervals. Okay, you have to find out the mean of the class intervals. Whenever class intervals are, memorize this sentence, understand in any way that you want. Whenever class intervals are given, we are actually finding out the mean of the class interval. Frequency is not our variable. Frequency is just an extra information which will help us in calculating the mean. Frequency is just an extra information that will help us in calculating the mean. Okay, we are actually finding out the mean of the class intervals or the classes. Okay, so this is what we have to find out. And you have your frequencies here given as 9, 22, 27 and 17. Now what you see here is
Sorry,
that
your voice is cracking.
what is very distinctive about this sum is that the class intervals, if you see, you have 1 to 3. What is the class width here? Class width here is 3 minus 1, 2, right? What is the class width here? 5 minus 3, 2. Class width same. What is the class width here? You can hear me, all of you? My voice still cracking.
No, sir, you're clear.
Okay. Because I think connection was unstable. So I have, if you see the class width here is 2. Class width here is also 2. Class width here is 2. 7 minus 5 equal to 2. But the class width here is 3. Okay. Whenever you come across this kind of a situation, whenever you come across this kind of a situation where you see that the class width are different. For example, the class width here is 2, class width here is 2, 2, and here it is 3. Remember, in case of mean, this is not a problem. I have given a note here. I've given a note here. See, in case of mean, the class width is not a problem, even if the class are of different widths. One class is of width, say 10, another class is of width 15. In calculating mean, this will not pose a problem. But definitely in case of median, it will pose a problem. In case of mode, it will pose a problem. But in case of mean, the class width does not matter. Okay, the class width may be different for all the various class intervals. Okay, so we calculate as it is normally. And how do we calculate? So first column that we make here is for your class boundaries. These are all overlapping, so we call them class boundaries. So 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 10 as given in the question. First column for class boundaries. The next column is for frequency, F. Okay, so this is your column for frequency F. And we write down all the frequencies. First frequency 9, 22, 27, and then 17. Okay. The next one here, remember, whenever we have class intervals, the third column that we shall make will be for class mark or mid values. And remember, I told you how to calculate the mid values. How do I calculate the mid values? I divide the upper class limit or upper class boundary, the sum of the upper class limit and the lower class limit, or the sum of the upper class boundary and the lower class boundary divided by 2. So what here, in case of this, you have 1 and 3. So what should be the class, what should be the mid value of the class mark? This is 1 plus 3 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2, you are getting 2. How much is this? 4. This is 3 plus 5 divided by 2. You are getting 9. And this is 5 plus 7 divided by 2, which is 6. And here you have 7 plus 10 divided by 2, which is 8.5. Is this column clear? Mid values of class mark? Okay. So
Sir, how to know which one to take?
which one to take means what? Can you
Sir,
repeat?
in all the sum we will take frequency class mark.
All the sums?
We will take the same table only.
Your voice is cracking, Vivek. Can you speak a little louder and a little clearer?
Sir, in all the sum the table will be same only. We will take frequency class mark.
You will take, in order to calculate, I just repeat, I could not figure out your full question, but I'll just repeat myself here. In order to calculate class mark or mid values, you will take the lower class boundary plus the upper class boundary divided by 2. This you will do for all. So for this, you have 1 plus 3 divided by 2, which is 2 that you are getting. 4, you have 3 plus 5 divided by 2. Okay. For 6, you have 5 plus 7 divided by 2. Okay. And for this you have 7 plus 10 divided by 2. For each one, you are calculating your class mark or mid values. Okay, but advisable here is, even if class, you see, you can calculate the mid values from your class mark or from your class limits also. If these were non-overlapping, then also we could have calculated the class mark. But I would advise you that whenever you get a class limit in your sum, whenever, convert them to class boundaries, because class boundaries are more convenient to work with. Okay, even in mean, even if it does not matter, still convert, always convert class limits to class boundaries, always. So I hope, Vivek, I answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So this is your class mark. And the and the fourth column that we are going to make here, the extra column that we are making is only for class mark. If you see in the last problem, when there were no class intervals, we did not make any column for class mark. In fact, we were taking this as X. Okay. But in this column, in this sum, if you see, we are actually taking our class mark, this column, the third column that we make, this is our X. I forgot to write here, but this is our X. Okay, this class mark column, this is our X. Okay, and finally we are making the column for Fx. What is Fx? The multiplication of these two. So 18, 9 into 2. This is 22 into 4. 27 into 6. And this is 17 into 8.5. Okay. So once you've calculated Fx for each and every row, you add up this in order to get your summation Fx. Summation Fx, you add up, you are getting here 412.5. Okay. Again, we will use our formula for direct method here. Mean is equal to summation Fx divided by summation F. Summation Fx, this, the total of this column will give you summation Fx, and the total of this column will give you your summation F. Okay, which is here we are getting as 75. So now you simply divide this 112.5 divided by 75, and you get this as 5.5, whatever. Any question? Direct method for problem in case of for an ungrouped distribution, you don't have that. If you see the difference, you did not have X here. You did not have to create create another table, in fact a column here called class mark. Okay, because there was no frequency, we were taking X here only. Okay, but here for a frequency distribution in which contains class limits or class boundaries, we are constructing this extra table here, class mark, which we are taking as X. Okay, that is the only difference between direct method for an ungrouped distribution and direct method for a group distribution. In case of group distribution, we are making an extra column. Okay, so that is what. Let me to the next method, which is called the shortcut or the deviation method. Now, the shortcut or the deviation method, sometimes what they do in your examination is that specify the method. Find the mean by shortcut method, or find the mean by deviation method. Most of the times they say step deviation method, which we will discuss after this. But sometimes they don't mention anything. Sometimes they say find the mean of the following frequency distribution. Then you can do any method you want. But if they specify, then you will have to use that particular method only. That is why all the three methods have been discussed. Okay. So this is your next method, which is shortcut method or deviation method. Shortcut or deviation method under normal circumstances is used for frequency distribution only, in which contains class intervals. So if you see here, what are the class intervals? 45 to 50, 50 to 55, 55 to 60. So we have to find out the mean of this. Remember, as I told you, you always find the mean of the class intervals. Okay. And this number of workers that is given, this is your frequency. Okay. So what you do is you dedicate the first column of this table to your class intervals or the class boundaries. Here this is overlapping. If you see 45 to 50, 50 to 55, all are overlapping. Okay, so you make your first column only for your class boundaries. The next column obviously will be for your frequencies. Just copy them as it is. Okay, and the third column will be for class mark, because it is a frequency distribution, I mean a group frequency distribution. That is why we'll make a third column for your class mark or mid values. That is why we'll make a third column, because it is a frequency distribution. We'll make a third column for your mid values. So what should be the mid values here? Why is it 47.5? As I told you, mid values are calculated in this way: 45 plus 50 divided by 2, 45 plus 50 divided by 2, so you're getting 47.5. This one is 50 plus 55 divided by 2, which you are getting as 52.5, and so on. Okay, for each and every row, you will have to find out your mid values separately. Okay, so I think I should stop here for today.